Something occurred to me in recent times in relation to the simile between some of us living today and the Gnostics. Now, the Gnostics were a group of a variety of Christian. They had their thoughts on the nature of the cosmos and God and what it is to be a human being and this, that and the other. And whatever they wrote, they kept secret, fear of persecution, murder. And so we discovered lots of the Gnostic text in Nag Hammadi, Dead Sea Scrolls, those sort of things, and people are still discovering, fragments even today. And so they told whatever they considered was their knowledge. They wrote all that down because they couldn't speak openly about it. Now, what's the difference between us now? We can't speak openly about many things, can we? We're being closed down. There's many words that we can't use. There are large sectors of our language which we are not permitted to use. What the fuck is going on? How many of us are getting exceedingly frustrated because our comments are just disappearing, and there's many things that I, as a YouTube content provider, cannot provide because the persecutors will be on me. And albeit I wouldn't be being slayed, well, or would I? They're slaying us in another way, aren't they? They are cancelling us, which in actual fact is slaying us. Now, when people get cancelled in China, they get proper cancelled. Their driver's license gets rebuked, and their bank accounts, and their social standing, everything. And everybody around them knows that they couldn't have anything to do with these people because their points will start to falter if they have a relationship and if they help in any shape or form. So look what's happening, people. So it's very, very much the case that some of us are becoming Gnostics because we have to write all the stuff that we're writing in fucking code. We are creating our new language, and the language which we're creating it has to be deciphered intuitively. We have to look at it and we have to go, well, what do I think that means? They're kind of like memes, aren't they? We're speaking in memes, and I've just been writing in code, breaking up the words, and just putting a few of the letters in so people can infer that, if I'm trying to say, for instance, look, if I put something down like slavery, then that comment will disappear. It depends if it's in a recognised category. If I put something down like a quote from Jesus or something like that, a quote from the Bible, then the chances of that won't be removed. But if it's taken out of that context, then AI will remove it because it is thinking that we are inferring about our current slavery, and they don't want anyone to talk about that. So we've got all this stuff going on, people, and there's literally now thousands of words we cannot say, and it's almost getting to a point, unless we're very inventive, that it's impossible to have a conversation or express what we want to. So that's what's happening there. I'm going to just continue with this video because there's a few snippets of things that I want to say. Now, mostly the things I'm saying are things that people don't want to hear because I'm speaking directly to you about you and many other people, When I say you, of course, I don't know, who the vast majority of you are, but I'm using a euphemism, I'm speaking to a fucking computer, aren't I? I'm speaking into a chip, that's what I'm speaking to. And whoever watches it, receives it, then they are thinking that I'm speaking to them. But is anybody speaking to anybody? Could I be held accountable for anything I say just because you look at it, just because people look at it? Obviously, people are thinking that we can because it's coined hate speech, and people put me in prison for years and years for things like treason or plotting to assassinate someone, or mentioning the BOMB word or things like that. All this stuff, AI is going to be listening to that shit, monitoring, and if they considered I was remotely serious, then I'd be arrested and investigated and held in custody for probably many years, and probably would never come out again unless I had a very, very good lawyer, which I couldn't afford. And so we have to be really, really careful. And it's not getting easier, people, it's getting much worse. So I speak about things that people don't want to hear, but fortunately I'm not really any threat to any government or anything like that. I'm just maybe a little bit of a threat to some people's frail psyches, if they feel affronted by what I say, if they think I'm chewing too close to the bone when I'm speaking about drones and slaves. And you see, I can say all these words in a video. I can't write them. I can't write immigrant. I can't write Muslim, or I can't write immigrant, or there's a billion things that I can't write. But I can say these things, and the video will pass the algorithm. So what's going on there, people? That's a dichotomy, isn't it? That's paradoxical. Are they fucking, do they have an issue with certain words, or do they not? But it seems to have a certain issue with written words, but not spoken words. Wow. Anybody got any insight in that? Why can I get away with all this stuff when I say it, but I can't get away with it when I write it, people? At this moment in time. So one of the comments was that, something like, well, if we are becoming sort of enlightened, then when are superpowers going to come? And I'm like, well, we already have superpowers, people. Our consciousness is a fucking superpower. Our consciousness is cosmic consciousness. It's fucking genius. Some people's consciousness is genius. Most people have very, very low, narrow parameters of consciousness. Because they haven't been awoken, and most people didn't come here to be awoken. It's not possible. They don't have the wherewithal to be able to be awoken. You need a lot of stuff going on. You need maybe to be an old soul, people. You need to have had to have a lot of experience. But yes, we have superpowers. We create everything that happens in our lives. Most people wouldn't agree with this, but what our life is doing, it's creating from the unconscious. It's creating through chemicals, it's creating through past experiences, it's creating through the subliminal, it's creating through things we have heard unconsciously but not really aware of. It's creating through the massive store of information that we've got in our unconscious, and it's guiding us like automaton. There is no free will in the human being, people. That is absolutely, a categoric, logical assessment. There are people that like to consider that there is free will, and they call themselves liberalists in this realm because they like to think that they have free will. But that's all it's premised on. It isn't premised on any knowledge, because when you look for the knowledge, you discover that you are not acting of your own accord. And there's even been tests with neurosurgeons when the cranium is cut off and the brain is open. They probe certain parts of the brain, and instantly memories come back that the person forgot about for 30, 50 years. And then when wired up to the computer knows in advance what you are going to think. So there is no free will, people. It's just the illusion, and we're all in a delusion. It's very, very, very curious what's actually going on here. Another thing is, what I'm proposing, what I've always been proposing, that it's only the very, very highest of intellectual human beings that are going to be of any value very soon, because they can be used. But the common old garden numpty, that's just going to be fodder. They're a burden. They have to get rid of them. It's not necessary for them to be here. It's a drain on resources and all the rest of it. And so the world is heading for 500 million population, just like they wrote on the Georgia Stones. There's a whole lot of stuff been planned for a long, long time, people. And we can see the ramifications of this going on with all different sorts of ways in which human beings are dying. And we're dying in our droves, and we are getting sick, and suicide has never been bigger. In actual fact, I think I was watching some video about the amount of deaths on the planet globally, and the highest, the absolute highest, maybe bar one, was suicide. And that's like all the wars, all the cancers, all the car crashes, all these things. Suicide is way up there with trillions. And so, you know, I made a video yesterday, didn't I? And I'm saying, you know, what's going on with the human psyche? Why are we so struggling? Why are we suffering so much? Because we don't have souls anymore, the vast majority of people. We don't have souls. We've not nurtured our souls. If we do have souls of a variety, it's a very, very, very unevolved soul, because people don't even know it's there, do they? They've got no idea that their soul is there. They've got no conception, perception, no knowledge of what his soul is. They've never looked inside to see if they could feel it, to see if they could get intuitive knowledge of it. They don't do this, they've never done that. And it's becoming very peculiar. What I'm saying here is, can anyone give me a good reason as to why humanity should survive? Why we shouldn't be cold, why we shouldn't go extinct, why we shouldn't kill ourselves? What reason could you put forward which is valid and it's thought about and it's reasonable, rational? Don't just tell me because we're all God's children. Don't be doing that one to me, people. And don't be telling me because love is the fundamental premise of the cosmos, because it's not. No, it's not. And so why would anyone think that the human being deserves to have an existence over and above anything else? My consideration is that the human being is a mutant. It isn't a thing that naturally came about on this planet. That's why we can't fend for ourselves for many freaking years when we are just being born. Or other animals, they're up and running within seconds, if not minutes or days. But the human being, it takes years and years of being protected and nurtured and you know, fucking breastfed and hand-fed and all the rest of it. We're not from here, people. We don't have any teeth, we don't have any nails. We're pretty weak, really, compared to other animals. Look at all the animals on the African plain. Every single one of them, even the fucking gazelle would tear us to pieces. It could stomp all over us and fucking spike us with those horns, the power in its body, the agility. You know, man, the human being's not from here. And I think we're going to find that out pretty soon. So I don't believe that the human being has any real value. Not in a cosmic sense, not in a God-descended sense, not in any sense. I just don't. We have a certain level of cognition and consciousness, but what does that consciousness do for us? It kills, doesn't it? It kills and it destroys. And okay, some of you say, well, we've got medicine and we've got hospitals and we've got this, that and the other. Well, that is a fraction of what you could consider to be superficial to the human being. But look at the oceans, look at the forests, look at the deserts, look at the ghettos, look at the poverty, look at the mental trauma, the pervasive pandemic of suicide and all this. Look at the hate, look at the disdain. Don't be telling me that the human being is benevolent and loving. That's just a fantasy. It's just one fucking grain on the beach of sand that which you can choose from. And people choose that because they're terrified, they're insecure, and they're fragile. All this different sorts of stuff. And they just want to believe in a beautiful Jesus and the God that they're going to. Forget it, people. You are God, and God is pretty indifferent about all of its creations, because it just lets them eat one another. It lets them destroy one another. It's just a game, people. And there's no winners. Everybody loses. In relation to our superpowers, we can effectively move mountains. You know, we can look at people to see what they've achieved on this planet, and they've achieved a great deal, phenomenal things. And even within your own right, you could be mega stars, pop stars, movie stars, business entrepreneurs. You can own private jets and islands. You can do a lot of stuff. Or alternatively, you can become enlightened and you can have cosmic consciousness. You can be in touch with all different sorts of spirits, malevolent and benevolent. You have a greater insight as to what you are as a human avatar, as a speck of God consciousness, as cosmic consciousness. Ultimately, when we go back to the source, you know, we go back into cosmic consciousness, maybe. But from this spiritual book, this book of spirits that I'm reading, I have itchy ears. My ears, they like to be gently tickled now and again. Oh, it's wonderful. And because I've been doing that all my life, I don't ever have anything on there, and I put my earbud right into it, touches the eardrum, and I can hear it rubbing against the eardrum, and I clean it all around and itch it all around, and there's never a single thing on that earbud. You try that. Oh man, I've known people that you look into their ears and it's fucking blocked with fucking black and yellow shit. Fucking blocked, people. But anyway, yeah, so we can actually move mountains. We can move metaphorical mountains. We can become mountains. We can do lots of things. So we do actually have superpowers. There are powers of telepathy and you know, all different sorts of things, astral travel and remote viewing and necromancy and communing with spirits, and there's a whole fucking bunch of stuff that we can do. You just gotta practice this stuff. It's practice. I mean, leaving the body wasn't natural for me, but over 150 hours of absolute dedication and hundreds of hours learning about it, I learned how to do it. And I went into another world. Very, very curious, people. Very curious. So anyway, I'll leave you with those two videos today, and see how we get along with them.